Okay, go to the bathroom. Right here. Have 2 minutes.
Well, that's under the, I mean, we're nowhere near a quorum, of course, but gotta start in a minute.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get a forum during your meeting, but if not, then you have to bring it to the board, without any recommendation, and then second. Very easy, that's the step, but, hopefully. You recommend to wait 5 more minutes? Yeah, I mean, we can wait 5 more minutes, but we're also pushing up against 6:30 with the board meeting. And, we haven't run two simultaneous meetings on Zoom before, so I don't know if that's. Let me put the kids in. I'm okay. What it is, like. Right, right, yeah, I mean, you can discuss it in unofficial meetings, you don't have a forum. Yeah, I think you might be.
Mine is bigger.
Yeah, you might be the only one. No, it's bigger. Your committee only needs 6, it is, needs 9.
That's what I need for here. It's mine.
Trying to keep track before.
Um, I don't remember the names. But we're missing 2 more, pretty much.
7, 8, I need one more from, Johnson.
Okay.
But some of us are,
Your committee has 3.
Mm.
Jerry, where are you, my are you coming to the meeting? Okay. Okay, cool. Nothing, we're ready for four. So I'm calling people. Okay.
Throw it all away.
Yeah, not smart for the winter though.
I know, I never realized, I feel like my head is tired.
Last January, I cut off the whole main. I couldn't believe how cold my ears were.
I felt my ears are like so cold now. But like, I was so tired of putting so much product in my hair.
But it was so cold, I had something to say.
No.
Just avoid it.
You remember all people's names? How do you do that?
Oh, just my board members, I'm terrible with names.
Oh, okay, okay.
Numbers, I'm great. About the meeting itself, no, we're on good.
Okay, all right, so that's why nobody's talking, because I got the stuff on the wall. I don't hear anything, so we just check it out.
Well, we don't have a quorum yet, we haven't started.
Oh, it's here. Okay. I'll help you with that. This is,
Jamie? They ask you to hand these out?
Yeah. If it's the, questions that they want to get about.
it's a really good bill, honestly.
Sorry?
It's a really good bill. It covers a lot of areas.
Senator, you could ask him.
He's the sponsor. One thing that definitely he has to do, like he hasn't introduced the legislation for the 2025-2026, so we have to get a commitment from him to introduce.
Bill number. He's here.
Oh, on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kathy's on Zoom.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Damien. I need one too. Damien, I'm gonna give you the other one in case people come in.
Oh,
Give out both of them. Thank you. All right, I guess we could start and discuss it, and hopefully one person will come in and we could do the vote. If not, we go forward.
Okay. It's gonna open it.
Good evening, everyone.
Quiet, please.
Welcome to the Joint Committee meeting with Public Safety, Education, Health, and Human Services. Today, we have one item on the agenda is the discussion on the New York for All resolution. I would like to thank Board Member Damian Andrade for bringing it to our attention at the last meeting. And we're here, hopefully, we're going to have a discussion, and hopefully we will have quorum in order to have a vote. Jonathan is the Chair of the Education, Health, and Human Services. Jonathan?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming, and I'm excited to really brainstorm about this legislation, and I'm excited that the sponsor in the Senate is with us today. And welcome, everyone.
Jeremy, do we do roll call or hold off? So Jeremy's going to do roll call. He's going to do each committee. When you hear your name, please say present. Jeremy?
So I'm going to start with the Public Safety Committee. I don't believe we have any of our board members joining us on Zoom right now. So let's start with Cynthia Jeffers.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry Chan. Joan Body. Thank you. Gabina Morales Escamilla. Kin Fung. Hector Gonzalez. Moshe Hecht. Barbara Lee. Roberto Martinez. Kamalek Ramos. Sam Sierra. Colina Sorma. Thank you. Jimin Wing. You have 3 members here. You need 6 for a quorum.
Thank you.
Now go to Education, Health, and Human Services. Jonathan Martinez,
Present.
Rosie Moda, Sylvia Augusto, Grisel Amador. Thank you. Damian Andrade. Thank you. Jalea Bailey, Joan Body. Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Jamie Freed, Nicole Huang, Cynthia Jeffers.
Present.
Thank you. Barbara Lee. Marilyn Melman, Joanna Romero, Nicole Ruiz, Pat Ruiz, thank you. Kalina Sorma, thank you. You have 8, you need 9 for a quorum. So right now, we don't have an official meeting.
Okay, so while we don't have an official meeting, we would like to have a discussion. Like Jonathan mentioned, we do have Senator Ganaris on Zoom. He is one of the sponsors of the bill, so we are going to open and ask him to discuss the bill, give us some high-level highlights, and then open it up for any questions that we may have. And hopefully by then, we will have one more member join us and we could proceed.
Senator? Senator Gennardis, if you could please unmute yourself. Francesca, I know you were listening in before. Could you please let the senator know we are waiting on him? Okay.
Okay. While we're waiting on him, Damien, would you like to just give us a little bit of background, why it is that you proposed this at the last meeting? And thank you for also writing the draft letter of support, much appreciated.
Hey y'all. So pretty much the reason why like I really introduced this bill, this resolution for the community board is because as we have seen, the recent administration that's incoming hasn't been really pro-friendly on immigration at all. And you know, has been talks and a lot of rhetoric going around from like even elected officials that they really want to do mass deportation. And we also have seen, I also have seen in California as well, they have been doing a lot of ICE raids has been happening in California and really targeting a lot of immigrant communities. And even though that I know that New York City is a sanctuary city and we're very protected, I really want to emphasize that this should be like a statewide issue, given that I have friends in Long Island who are immigrants. I have family upstate who are immigrants. And they're also very fearful of that they're not very protected compared to New York City, where, you know, any point in time that, you know, ICE could go get them. And it's like really important for us to like, even so, like just support this and just send a letter of support just to be on record. I know that this letter is not gonna like change the fabric of the future, but it's good to be on record that it could also encourage other community boards to really focus on legislation and really supporting stuff like this. And yeah, because I really want to protect our immigrant communities. My father's an immigrant. I really care for stuff like that. And, you know, no one should be deported based on who they are, as long, you know, because everyone's human.
Thank you for that. I would also like to add as an educator, I know many of our schools and our children have had concerns, our parents, about this issue. We have many undocumented students in our school buildings that attend from pre-K all the way up to grade 12 and beyond in our universities and colleges. And it's very important for them to feel that sense of community. We have always rallied around our community, especially our children and our elders. We have some of our elderlies and Griselas here that have been here in this country their whole life and have not bothered to get their paperwork, but have been contributing citizens of this. And I wanted to be very clear. A lot of people, oh, you're protecting criminals, you're doing this. We're not. We're protecting human beings at the end of the day. And I think it's important that we show the compassion as we're moving forward. And like Damien said, we don't know the outcome of this. This is just a bill, but we're just asking for support to move forward so that we could show our support as a community, that we are in agreement. Many of you know this has always been a migrant immigrant community. We had the peers back in the day. I see Joan nodding her head. We had Italian, Irish, Norwegian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and now we have many of our Central and South American immigrants here, and we need to continue to band together to do that. Jonathan?
Yes, also it's important to highlight that from the stand of education, social services, and health, having a law that protects you to get your social services such as food stamps, SNAP, and also just getting basic health information or health services. This law will definitely benefit our community here in Sunset Park, especially, but also throughout the district as well. And I want to emphasize that I'm really excited right now to talk to the Senate, the sponsor of the Senate, but we're just kind of waiting for him right now. So I hope if he's here and is available to talk,
Let's
try
try one
again.
more time. If not, we'll open it up to community comments.
Senator Gutierrez? Senator Gutierrez or Francesca, are you there? Let me try this a different way. I'm wondering if people could hear us on the other end.
Try to call Francesca.
If anybody could hear me, would you just raise your hand? Thank you very much. You could put your hands down now, so people can hear us. Yeah, that was me. I don't believe there's a problem on our end. Yeah.
While we wait for the senator, would like to open the floor for comments. Um, any thoughts?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Gladys Bruno. I just want to make a comment that thankfully not all the immigrants are criminals. There's a lot that have contributed a lot to this country. And I was seeing a report in News One yesterday, I think, and today of a woman that she started, it's like a food pantry thing that they distribute massive food. And the only thing she doesn't know is how to speak English, but they found their way to how to communicate through Google Translate. And she's after the owner, she's the second one in command. And because of her business background from her country and brought it here. So now she's also at risk. And she has contributed a lot that she lived with family and now she has her own apartment and everything. She's doing great. But with this thing now over her head, it's making it more difficult to live here.
Thank you.
Grisera Amador, Director of United Senior Center of Sunset Park. I just want to comment that, yes, what Cynthia mentioned is correct. There is seniors that still have no paper, that have been working all their life in this country, that they have the children, grandchildren, and they still don't have the paper. They cannot apply for apartment for seniors, benefits that they really work years and years and they cannot apply. Very sad situation. I have one of my seniors, the one that I am thinking right now, sleeping in the subway. And then he go to the center. In the senior center, we don't ask for social security. We don't ask for nothing. They need to have 60. And it still is people that not 60, but the condition we need to provide food, But that special man, we already get information to see if he want to go to the shelter. I don't know the reason. They don't want to go to the shelter. They're afraid to go to the shelter. They don't speak the language, and there is so many people. They don't like to go. He say, I feel safe in the subway. So he stay all night in the subway, and in the morning he come to the senior center. So we get close and everything. So I told him, listen, Papa, you need to change. So he go to some place. I think it's in 53rd Street in alcoholism program that they sleep there, so they allow him to take a bath, and then he go to the senior center for lunch and for breakfast. Also, he participate in some activity, but it's very sad. All that kind of people been working in this country for many years with no benefit when they all people and nobody gonna give job for them, to pay the rent and very difficult situation. So I support, the proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
no problem. Good evening, everyone. My name's Adam. In my opinion, one of the most important factors in determining the degree to which Trump's deportation policies will be implemented in New York City will be the results of this year's mayoral election.
Yes, we have somebody else talking now.
I personally believe that there are several highly qualified individuals in the Democratic primary who would be very competent mayors. If Curtis Sliwa wins, however, New York will no longer be a sanctuary city. He has made that crystal clear. Everyone can look at his frequent social media posts blaming the immigrant community for supposedly causing a massive crime wave, even though NYPD statistics show that overall crime was down in 2024 compared to the year prior. And of course, last year he had his guardian angels assault a man in Times Square who they believed was an immigrant. Well, it turned out that the man was not an immigrant, and of course, assaulting anyone is wrong. It was a clear effort to intimidate our immigrant community, and it was live. It was live on Fox News, the Sean Hannity show, for millions of people to see. But I think we can largely prevent this xenophobic atmosphere spread by Trump, Sliwa, and others by electing a pro-immigrant mayor, a mayor who respects the rights of all New Yorkers. Thank you for your time.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.
Um, Go ahead.
Senator Gennardis?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
Thank you for being here. And I would just like to hear from you to explain your bill for the community workplace. And thank you for attending today.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my light of my computer went out, so I'm a little bit dark. I'm trying to fix it. But thank you, everyone, for making the time. I obviously we're all very, very concerned about what the incoming Trump administration will do with regards to immigrants in our community. They have promised the largest deportation operation in this country's history. They have said that they want to go so far to deport everyone, including dreamers, young kids who were brought here by their parents, who have only known this country. They don't care whether you are completely law-abiding, whether you own a business, whether you are an upstanding member of the community. All they care about is whether or not you have citizenship. Very scary. And I know for many of our neighbors, this is a very unsettling and frightful time. Because even if it doesn't affect you, it affects everyone. And I know that everyone's walking around on eggshells because we remember what happened 4 years ago, I guess 8 years ago, with the previous administration, and the chaos that affected our community. So, there are things that we can do to help protect each other and help protect our neighbors. We might not be able to stop everything, but we can certainly make it much more difficult for this deportation machine to tear apart our neighbors and our families. One of those ways is to limit the ability of local governments and law enforcement in particular from coordinating and conspiring with immigration officials for enforcement. Now, in New York City already, we have this. We have these laws in New York City already. So the police department cannot coordinate with ICE. Local government agencies, ACS, HPD, all these agencies, they cannot tell ICE, hey, there is someone here who's undocumented. Hey, we know about someone who committed a crime, allegedly, who's undocumented. You can deport them. They're not allowed to do that right now. Sometimes the city doesn't follow its own laws, but that has been the law in the city for more than 10 years, and it's worked very well. We think that these protections should extend across all of New York State so that everyone knows that their local government, their local city government, their local county government, their state government will not be coordinating with immigration enforcement to have people deported unless there is a judicial warrant, which is what New York City law currently says. Why this is important is for a couple reasons. Number one, this actually does more for public safety than whatever Trump and his team says they're going to do, right? If neighbors who don't have status can trust the police department to say, hey, I want to report a crime. Hey, there's a problem here. They should be able to do that without being in fear that they're going to be rounded up and given over to ICE for no reason. And so we want people to trust their local police departments. We want people to trust their government. We want people to know that there are safe spaces that they can come forward and not be in the shadows here. And number two, there's been a lot of rhetoric coming out of New York City government about trying to scale back our sanctuary laws. State law would override that. And so if the city manages to scale back their laws, state law would override that and would make sure that these protections apply to everyone. The other places where I think, just to point out, Westchester County already has laws like this, which is great. And the New York State Police already have a regulation in place that don't allow them, the state troopers, to coordinate with ICE. So we want to make sure that this applies everywhere, from Buffalo to Brooklyn and everywhere in between. And, like I said, we won't be able to stop everything that they do, but this will make it so much harder when we're not coordinating with them, when our own government, our own tax dollars are not aiding the Trump's immigration officials from doing what they're trying to do, which is, I think really tear our families apart. So I welcome the committee's questions and also your support. And I really welcome the full board support of New York for All, which is the bill that I'm proposing, because I think it's really, really important that we stand up for our neighbors, whether they came here yesterday or 100 years ago, as my grandfather did.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee on it? Jonathan?
I do have a question for the senator. I checked today as for 5 p.m. and I didn't see the legislation being introduced for the 2025-2026 session. Is there any particular reason for not introducing this legislation at this moment?
No. So we've introduced it. There's at the very beginning of the legislative session, which just started really this week on Monday. We got sworn in last Wednesday. There are so many bills that they try to get into the system, and there's just a backlog. So we have already put the bill in. It is already being processed. We're just waiting for the bill number. We will send the updated bill number to the board once we get it back. But we have introduced the bill. I am still sponsoring the bill. It's just because, there are 63 senators all trying to get their bills in on day one. There's a big backlog.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you. Any other questions?
Sorry, I do have an additional question. I see that the bill has, at least in the 2024-2025 session, had a support of 31 co-sponsors in the Senate, and but however didn't go through the committee. Is any specific reason why this legislation hasn't go through to the committee and bring to the floor for a vote?
There are a lot of bills that have a lot of support that don't make it onto past the committee. I certainly tried my best. Before I sponsored the bill, another colleague sponsored the bill, and there were only 23 co-sponsors. I worked very hard over the last 2 years to get to a majority of co-sponsors, and so that took a lot of work and a lot of effort. And so I think it's just one of those things that we need to see a lot more support for. And the other unspoken reality is that, especially in the last couple of years, immigration has become a very fraught topic, right? And let's just be honest about that. It's always been fraught, but especially so given the the influx of migrants and asylum seekers coming here. And so it has been a very delicate issue, I think. And so for something like this, we really need more than just a bare majority of co-sponsors. I think you need to show overwhelming support. Because sometimes, believe it or not, just because someone says they co-sponsor it doesn't mean they're going to vote for it. Not saying that anyone has said that about this bill, because they have not, but that sometimes is a reality as well. And so we need to have more support than we currently have in order to get this through, as well as we need to make sure that the governor is going to sign this bill, because it does us no good and it protects nobody if we pass the bill, but the governor says no. Because I want to make sure that when we get these protections in place, that they mean something for people who need them. See, Evan, Daddy's in the meeting now. You want to talk about the meeting? You want to say hi in the meeting? Yeah. Okay, come say hi. No. Come say hi. Say hi.
No, I don't want
Okay.
Hi. Hi, Evan.
to. But Daddy,
Okay, can you wait till Daddy finishes his
you know
meeting?
what, Daddy?
Can you wait till Daddy finishes?
I want to do a favor. If you want, I can stick it. And if I was
Thank you. And I'll open the floor for questions, given that we have a restricted time.
well, I really want to do a favor.
He has a microphone. I think I'm just gonna.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, the state senator. Just I guess comment and a question. Comment would be that thank you to the state senator and this community board for showing some leadership. This bill, I think, I say as someone that lives in Sunset Park, lived here my whole life, and I've seen a lot. I think like a lot of y'all, the kind of chaos and fear that existed, and a lot of police violence. I mean, 4 years ago, right? At the end of the last Trump presidency, I think there was ICE agents that shot someone in the face in Brooklyn, February 6, 2020. Eric Diaz-Cruz, we saw New York City police and ICE agents working side by side in our streets, in our hospital, at Maimonides Hospital, to kidnap someone that was ultimately freed, all right? So I think there's been a lot, unfortunately, to divide us, to make us think, oh, there's good and there's bad. And this is a very common sense piece of legislation that tries to separate New York police from federal police. I think for the safety and security of the neighborhood, this is a good idea and I support this. And my only question would be if we can go further, because clearly what New York City has is not enough. Clearly what, if I understand what this legislation tries to do, it tries to say local government cannot collaborate with ICE. But there's also one, I believe, that State Senator Jessica Ramos also is introducing this session, Senate Bill 1097.
Sorry to interrupt you. I will just
Yeah.
give you like 30 more seconds.
No, that's my question. My question is like, do you think, well, I guess asking if, I don't know if the state senators looked at that bill, it looks like it would help to make maybe that protection a little bit stronger in that no New York police can be asking about your federal immigration status, at least as I read it. So maybe the question would be if they could support that, if y'all would consider supporting it, what the state senator's opinion is, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember being at Maimonides Hospital 5 years ago when, okay, Evan, thank you. Okay. Let Daddy finish, okay? I remember being out there. I remember.
Can you give me a favor?
I'll give you a favor when I'm done, okay? Thank you. I remember that moment. I remember that day. And I think we all have PTSD from other examples like that, other moments like that. I have not seen Senator Ramos's bill. It is the intent of our legislation that that covers similarly what I think the intent as you described it. I want to see the bill. What her intent is there. Because already police are not supposed to be asking you in New York City about your immigration status. That's already city law. And a lot of that city law stems from the same types of city protections that were passed 10 years ago, specifically to stop coordinating and colluding with ICE. Whether we can do more, we're always open to doing more. There's other legislation that we're trying to pass. Right now, we some counties in upstate New York enter into contracts with ICE to turn their jails over to ICE for immigration cells. There's a separate bill that would prohibit that from happening as well. And so I think there are definitely more things we can be doing, and I'm open to doing anything we can to protect our neighbors. So if
Thank you
anyone
so
else
much,
has
Senator.
ideas, I am more than willing to hear from you, take your ideas, and see what we can do legislatively to help protect our neighbors.
Great. Thank you so much, Senator. I know you'll be here also for the full meeting or with Francesca. We are going to vote now as a committee. So we want to thank you for joining us for this portion of it. And we just had one clarification question. The two committees would be the Assembly Ways and Means Committee and the Senate's Codes Committee.
So definitely the Senate Codes Committee, where I'm a member this year. I've been placed on that committee. I'm going to try to push on that committee for the bill. I don't know if it's Ways and Means first or if it's the Assembly Codes Committee first. I'm unclear, but we
Okay.
can clarify that for you as well.
Perfect. So we'll put that there. So we are now going to vote as a committee because we do have a quorum. That's okay, great. So we're going to push it through the Health Education Committee, the Education, Health and Human Services Committee. Those members will be able to vote on this letter of support. So everybody does have the proposal. We just have a friendly amendment. Jonathan? Okay, so we just want to make sure that we include that Community Board 7 does not only represent Sunset Park, it also represents Windsor Terrace, that also has immigrants in a working class community. So we would like to add that. We would also like to add that we will also request that elected officials in CB7 support all elected officials that represent CB7 also support at whatever level they are, that we're going to request that they do, that they will get a copy of our letter. So if there's no objection to that friendly amendment, I would like a second on my motion. Damian, Pat, thank you both. And now we could move forward with a vote. So I am doing another roll call.
So a yes supports the motion, and a no is against the motion, and an abstention counts as a no vote. Jonathan Martinez?
Yes.
Jonathan Martinez, yes, thank you. Rosie Moda? Sylvia Augusto? Grisel Amador? Grisel Amador, yes. Damian Andrade? Damian Andrade, yes. Jalea Bailey? Joan Body? Joan Body, yes. Esteban Chavez? Esteban Chavez, yes. Jamie Freed? Nicole Huang? Cynthia Jeffers?
Yes.
Jeffers, yes. Barbara Lee? Joanna Romero? Nicole Ruiz? Pat Ruiz? Pat Ruiz, yes. Kalina Sorma? Kalina Sorma, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. We will, on behalf of Jonathan and myself, we would like to thank everyone who attended our committee meeting. As you know, we invite you all to stay if you're not a board member and have to stay for the 6:30 full general board meeting. Thank you all. Jonathan?
One more thing, thank you for the health committee to really show up and support this legislation. And thank you again.
We will be starting up again. You'll have to sign in again, folks, for 6:30.
Thank you, everyone.